Well, gather around, cowboys. It's Uncle Ted in Austin, Texas. I'm here to do security for the hippies. Join Uncle Ted right here in Austin, Texas, the epicenter of the Tejas barbecue on rAwTiMe. My rAwTiMe is your rAwTiMe. Yeah. And then include this right here because this is really... Nah! Want a bite?
So Ted Nugent.
Don't think that every night isn't a party for me. I mean, it's just an absolute spiritual barbecue on stage every night.
Absolutely.
Nah. And with a little bit of sleep, I'd be dangerous. I mean, if I ever get any sleep, everybody's in trouble.
Yeah, the secret is there is never a moment of sleep with Ted Nugent. So.
But it's not, I don't know if you want to get into this kind of stuff, but I really haven't been able to sleep.
Really?
The Nugent family is going through some medical hell right now. We discovered this Stachybotrys mold in our home. It is quite debilitated Shemaine and Rocco and I. We've got this black mold in our blood, and I can't sleep.
Oh, we were flooded. I'm very familiar with the black
mold. Texas has been inundated with it. So I'm running on an extra gift of punch from God every day, but the shows are still over the top. We play like in these. We play with ZZ Top, which I got to tell you, ZZ Top. Masters. There's not a white boy in the band. We get to play at the world's greatest bands. ZZ Top, Kenny Wayne Shepherd with Double Trouble.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable. We played with Government Mule last night in Birmingham, Alabama.
Warren
These guys,
Hayes is brilliant.
They absolutely rock out. So there's a lot of great music out there. Whether it's John Mayer or the Foo Fighters, or
saw them Monday night.
Or Dave's other band, the Queens of the Stone Age, was just a son of a bitch. Or this Audio Slave band. There's so much great music out there, man. I can hardly stand it.
MTV. Occasionally they play music. Occasionally.
Well, they've never played my. If they had any balls, if they had any honest balls, they'd play Crave right now.
Right on. Right now they would. But they did do a Cribs.
Well, they did a little chunk of Cribs. They didn't show my gun collection. I got news for you. If you don't include Ted Nugent's gun collection and my historical Smithsonian wildlife art taxidermy collection, you've done a disservice. You have misrepresented what I do. Yes, the horsepower was beautiful, and I want you to know, Dave, that most of my vehicles are tuned very special so that we put out absolutely illegal amounts of horsepower. And if you look very closely at Ted Nugent Cribs, you'll see a massive pipeline going right out of my vehicles into a Saudi prince's ass, sucking raw crude from some demonic punk's family tree. All my cars are tuned to go 100 yards per gallon. So I'm very proud of that. And that was nicely represented.
Yeah.
But they didn't show the guitar collection.
Yeah.
They didn't show my kids' athletic trophies. These are the important things. They didn't show my kids. My kids are so cool. So there's an agenda, politically correct, anti-gun, anti-hunting agenda, believe me, on the side of VH1 and MTV that I have fought desperately to overcome. But they have way too much damn power. They're too cocky for their shirt. And I'm working with them now. In fact, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but we have a new wonderful, wonderful project with one of those music television outfits where I won't even give you the title of it because we're in final negotiations. But they very well may be a true reality, not a bullshit reality, not a scripted reality, not an Ozzy Osbourne make fun of the crippled guy reality, a real reality, Catch Ted Bean Ted show. Coming up as early as this next year.
That's where I was going, man.
Blow your mind.
I hope we
my
can do
reality is so cool.
It would just open up a lot of people's eyes if they would put on a national level the reality that you've been behind for,
Well, how do I get high? I mean, I think everybody should know that getting high like Ted does is available. I plant trees. I plant thousands of trees every spring. I dedicate myself and do benefits for children's charities and wildlife habitat charities, which, contrary to my critics' ignorant squawking, I do habitat charities because mankind's quality of life will come from quality air, soil, and water, which doesn't come from the mall. It comes from pheasant habitat and deer and elk and mountain lion and bear habitat. So based on this incredible conservation success story, in 2003 there are more bears, more cougars, more mountain lions. There are more wild turkey, more deer, more geese in North America right now than in recorded history. Why? Because the hunters started conservation organizations to safeguard habitat for true biodiversity and ultimately the production of quality air, soil, and water. That's how I get high. That message needs to be given to people that if they use electric goods, they're mining for coal. If you turn on a light, you're hiring a man with a front loader to dig a hole and get you some coal.
Absolutely.
That's not my hunch, that's not my opinion. That's reality. And this kind of reality is fun because it's fun to operate a front loader.
They
It's
don't
fun.
teach it in school? Kids don't
They don't
know
teach
that?
it. They're literally lied to. That's why we're graduating children who can't talk, you know what I'm saying? Who can't spell,
Word.
can't read. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's an indictment to the soullessness
Yeah.
of the American dream of being the best that you can be. These punks with the no I'm saying crap and this criminal celebration, that's not the American dream of being the best that you can be. That's some horrible asshole's dream of being the worst that you can be.
Yep.
And the remedy for that is an upper level of awareness and a deeper honesty of consciousness. And yes, I scare white people with my guitar, but there's fiber, there's content, there's meat to the message. And we're getting it right here on your show that the American dream, you'll have a better party, you'll remember the better parts of your party, you'll have better sex, you'll have better rock and roll, you'll remember all these positive adventures if you don't put drugs, alcohol, tobacco, or fast food anywhere near the sacred temple. That's not my opinion.
Yep.
That's reality.
It's fact.
And people are just buckling under to this comfortable cheapening of the American work ethic, which is about putting your heart and soul into things versus just being careless. And so the carelessness that has caused the American dream to be in a tailspin is remedial like that if we became honest and forthright and challenged our friends to put down the drugs, put down the alcohol, put down the tobacco, put down the fast food, take better care of our sacred temples, and the whole world becomes an absolute party zone.
And even with the amazing speaking talent that Ted has, if you haven't even ever heard him speak a word, you can see by the way he lives what is the truth.
I'm 54 and I haven't slept in eight weeks, but still I have an amazing energy and I have an amazing clarity to what I'm supposed to do as a husband, father, citizen, guitar player.
Michigan Conservationist of the Year.
How about that? Not Michigan Conservationist of the Year because I plant millions of trees and I teach children how to do so and identify the sources of pollution to fight the bureaucracy that actually facilitates such pollutants. And I make enemies in the process, but only assholes have a problem with me. But I was also, I think equally important, named one of the Conservationists of the Year by the National Arbor Day Foundation. Wow. Because every year I get high by planting trees. And if you see our Spirit of the Wild TV show on the Outdoor Channel and a number of network affiliates around the Midwest, you'll see that this spirit of the wild really is a motivating driving force in my musical, uninhibited, irreverent outrage, intensity, and my overall quality of awareness, hence my quality of life. So conservation, the wise use of our resources, really begins with self. I got 6'2" and 190 pounds of stuff. How do I use those resources? Do I use them to turn into a lump of shit? Or do I use them to be alive and buoyant and spirited and energized and healthy? I mean, to even have to say these things in America is an indictment to the disconnect that has taken place. So being a conservationist isn't just about planting trees and balancing wildlife habitat and eating venison, the ultimate rocket fuel for your soul, but it's about teaching others to return to nature as healer. And everybody watching your wild-ass rock and roll TV show, I'm gonna tell you, your rock and roll experiences haven't even awakened yet. Till you leave the pavement, shut the fuck up, take a deep breath and realize you got X amount of feet, inches, radar, awareness, energy, piss, vinegar, passion, attitude, spirit. And are you using it all? Or are you using a tiny bit of it? And if you leave the pavement behind, you leave that mall, you leave that concrete hell zone, and you go out and you listen to the birds. And a lot of people go, that's corny, shut the listening to the birds, listening to the wind, exercising your individual predator instinct by making that mystical flight of the arrow the best that it can be by bringing home one meal through one act instead of the assembly line slaughter of waste. The hunters and hunting, fishing, trapping, it's the last pureness available environmentally to mankind and spiritually to mankind. This is why I think people are stepping up and going, no, he doesn't whack them and stack them. He balances the ecosystem that produces our life support mechanism. Duh.
On top of the animal issues, the trees you plant, you could probably, every one of us that are at your show tonight in Austin, Texas, for that matter, could plant trees every day and not equal to the amount that they're killing just mindlessly.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we all use stuff. We are all consumers.
Sure.
But I, as a hunter, fisherman, and trapper, and a true naturalist, I have been driven since I was a young boy, and I teach Star, Sasha, Toby, Rocco, our Ted Nugent Camp for Kids, our United Sportsmen of America, everybody at tednugent.com. If you come to Talkback, you'll see people who are getting a renewed vitality, getting higher, getting more intense, whether they're a welder or a cop or a teacher or a CEO of some electronic firm, as they leave the pavement and they plant a tree and they try to get close to game with a bow and arrow. The intensity of their endeavors professionally and leisurely become that much more intense. Everybody should return beyond the pavement once or twice a year to touch the source of our life, because as consumers we need to be more honest and more responsible by putting more back in than we take. Absolutely. And that's what I do, so my critics can kiss my ass.
And I've been honored to have this time with Ted to share these views with you, because I don't think there's near enough places you can hear this. You are getting the rounds.
Yeah, I get to go on radio and TV all the time. Last year I did over 1,000 major media interviews, and this year we're like 20% ahead of schedule. Not that there is a schedule, but my assistant Linda is bombarded with upwards of 100 requests a day. And since I don't sleep, I might as well do as many as possible. But I need to conserve my energy prior to the unleashing of the beast at about 9 p.m. every night.
Absolutely.
But it's available to everybody. And I would welcome people to come to tednugent.com and see that we all can do more. I can even do more. I don't know how, but I will. But each and every one of us need to do more. We need to ask what we can do for this American dream instead of what the American dream can do for us. Because as you put back into nature and as you put back into your communities and particularly your family to make a better community, it will come flooding back to you, I promise. You know, my smiles, I literally have to have therapy to reduce the pain in my cheeks because I smile so much, because I'm a happy son of a bitch, because my happiness is full. It's got content, it's got fiber, it's got protein, because I do good anyway, even though it's politically incorrect, and I anger the idiots who are quite powerful today. Whether it's ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, there's a lot of idiots who control the information we get that is not information, it's bias and it's manipulation. I give you Michael Moore with his mockumentary. That's not a documentary, that wasn't information, that was not capturing events as they unfolded. That was a biased, ugly, dishonest, irresponsible, unprofessional, agenda-driven propaganda piece.
Promoted by the major media.
Promoted by the major media. So Michael Moore really didn't produce a mockumentary called Bowling for Columbine. He's really living a life called Bowling for Logic, and the man is capable of nothing but gutter balls, which is where he lives anyhow, so how convenient is that? So I'm on a course of upgrade. Our Ted Nugent United Sportsmen of America, our cry and hue is recruit to a higher quality of awareness and the resultant higher quality of life, and upgrade by informing people that we the people must get back in charge, must get in the policy making equation with our elected officials, our senators, our congressmen, our governors, our law enforcement, our conservation wildlife agencies, the White House. And if the Motor City Madman can actually write Wang Dang Sweet Poontang and still have lunch with the governor, then you don't have any excuse at all, you little wimps.
Fuck yeah, man. So tonight he's going to lay Austin low. The band is rocking, the DVD.
Barry Sparks, Tommy Clefettos, they are stone cold rock and roll sons of bitches, man. They are my blood brothers.
Full bluntal nudity, ladies and gentlemen. Austin, Texas, 2003, Ted Nugent on rAwTiMe. I never would believe it.
I can't help myself. Remember, Dave, Rosa Parks is our guiding light.
Very good. Thank
Rosa
you, sir.
Parks.
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks and Charlton Heston.